running on my YouTube. This is Maria Malik, your corporate speaking coach. And I do have a guest for you here today, Brandy. Brandy, how are you doing today?
I am doing great on this, second Monday of the year. I'm doing pretty good, Maria. Excited to be here.
Good, glad to hear that. So, Brandy, before anything, please tell us a little bit more about what you do and where you're from. Give us a little bit of idea of who Brandy Fraser is.
Of course. Let me see. Let me give the shortened version because we can be here for like an hour, right? So, Brandy Fraser, I am a speaker, I am a corporate trainer, and I am what you call a master educator, which is basically a fancy way to say I do training and development internationally as well as domestically as well, certified to do that. I am a wife and I am a mom. I always like to add that in too because that's a part of who I am. But most importantly, I am a passionate person. I'm passionate about speaking, I'm passionate about sales, I'm passionate about training and development. So you put them all together and you have a baby, you get Brandy. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. I love that introduction. And I'll tell you why. So when I'm working with people and I ask them to introduce themselves, right? Most people just say, "Hi, my name is this. This is what I do. This is where I live. I went to this university." And it's like, okay, great. But what makes you stand out, right? What makes you different? So the way that you've put all of that together, and that's why I knew I had to have you kind of on my live because you're a great speaker. And I noticed that on the audio that I did. So when you're introducing yourself, this is a great way to do it. Anyone that's listening, you want to put in a little bit of you in there. Now we're actually going to remember who Brandy is and what makes her different from everyone else. So great introduction. Very happy to hear that. And again, I do want to welcome you. So everyone, we do have our chat open. If you have questions, we'll be taking questions throughout. So please drop your questions in the chat box and we'll get started very soon. So Brandy, anything you want to share with the audience about what you have coming up for 2024, 2023? I'm already jumping ahead, 2024.
Hey, that's
and it's
big
because of
goals.
what we were talking about.
We're already
about
talking.
my master classes. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do them next year. So I have other stuff going on right now. But yeah, so what do you have going on in 2023? Tell us all about that.
Yes, absolutely. So much going on. I want to highlight something too, because I feel like I could say a lot of speaking engagements, of course, a lot of on-site trainings, but something I'm most excited about is a brand new masterclass that I'm offering. And it is going live this January. So January 28th to be exact. I'll drop the link in the chat for you. And what this is, it's absolutely free. So I know y'all are thinking, are you crazy? How are you offering this for free? But it's free. And what it's called is the Lead Speak Sell Masterclass. So this is literally, truly, Maria, the all-in-one, everything that you need to get to the ultimate success. It's really that best kept secret that I feel as though a lot of organizations, they aren't touching on. Entrepreneurs aren't really pursuing. Just people who really want to elevate to that next level. And they're trying to figure out, why am I stuck? Why aren't I just really getting to where I need to be? So what we're going to do in that masterclass is we're going in, okay? I'm giving the secrets. I'm dropping the gems. We're going to talk about how to be a leader, right? How to pull from within, how to ignite that confidence and just truly build on that. The leadership piece is first. I can't teach you how to speak or how to sell if you don't know how to lead a team. So the next piece we'll talk about in the masterclass, January 28th at 11 a.m. EST time, is speaking. Okay, that's the whole thing. Maria, you're an amazing speaker. You do this so naturally, and you're an introverted, right? I would never think that because of how you show up and how you just grace the stage. Myself, right? Most people think, oh, you were born that way. That's it. You just know how to speak. Do I believe some people are born that way? Yes. But on the other end of it, I'm going to teach you how to speak like a pro. But I have to start with that leading piece first. And then lastly, sales. Here's the thing. People can say, yuck, I don't do sales, whether you're an engineer, architect, wherever you're at. If you're in business, okay, if you own a business, and if you are in the workplace, you are in sales. That is it. When you're sitting down to negotiate that pay raise, guess what? You're selling you. When you're sitting down to talk about more things about how can I get to this next level in my career, you've got to sell it to that partner, to that director, and whoever you're working with. So I'm going to teach that person who's very beginner sales how to get to that next level. But then also, if your expertise is in sales like mine, I've got you. We're going to that rock star level. So that's what's coming up, the Lead Speak Sales Masterclass on January 28th. I only have a limited number of spots because I want to make sure it stays intimate. So enroll now. So that's what I have coming up out the gate I wanted to talk about.
Of course. Sounds really exciting. And if you can drop the link in the chat box, Brandy, that would be great, just so people can just click and it's easy for them to get to it. But that's some great stuff. Let's talk a couple of things that you touch based on. So I specifically work with introverts. And like you said, for introverts, it's so difficult. And trust me, even now, every time I have to get up, do even a live or any type of public speaking engagement, it's like I have to gather up that courage. I have to do so much. I have to just to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I can be on camera or I can be in front of an audience and smile. So my specific focus is for introverts. Do you have people help specifically, or is this a little bit more broad? If so, tell us about that.
Yes, excellent question. I think that is a great. So me, I'm a little bit more broad. If you had to say specifically who I'm targeting the people who, at the end of the day, and I think this is everyone, aren't truly confident in their abilities to lead, to speak, and to sell. And what I mean by this, the people who might have been the underdogs, the people who might have been overlooked in meetings. And I definitely tailor a lot towards women because we tend to get silence in meetings. We tend to not get to that next level to be able to use our voice. So I would say it's a bit more broad, and that's male and female. So if you feel as though you aren't as confident, you feel as though I don't really have certain skills that I know I need to be successful, but how do I learn them? Those are the folks who I'm targeting. So if you're that underdog, if you're that person who feels like I need it, I need a little help me. That's me. I'm coming in to save you because those are my things that I truly do well, but most importantly, I'm passionate about. I know that my God-given purpose is to ignite that in people. So yes, I'm pretty broad, but for those folks who just feel it, if I'm talking to you now, you know what I mean. I'm here for you.
Okay, great. So I like that you touch base on a couple of things here, how you're saying that it's especially for people that don't speak in meetings. So let's talk about those people, because I was one of those people where I would go through an entire day at work, not say one word. And I know it's not only hard, but then you're left with that feeling of, oh gosh, I didn't say anything. And it's like I'm not here, like that whole feeling
Yes.
invisible. So do you have advice, something that you can give our audience right now about if you're that type of person where you go into a meeting and guess what, you don't know what to say, you don't know how to say, or if you know how to say it, you just can't get it out? What would kind of be your simple advice to someone that is experiencing that?
Oh my goodness. And that's a lot of my clients that come to me who say exactly what you just said. That blows my mind. And it breaks my heart too at the same time. I have two things I'm going to do. The first thing is, number one, if you go into a meeting, right, most likely you don't know what to say. You might be feeling a little off with the agenda. You might be nervous because it's your turn to present, or you're walking into a situation that is feeling very uncomfortable because this happens often. Number one, do your research. And what I mean by that is do your research on whatever it is you might be slated to present, that you're going to discuss. What are we going over? Whether it's a quarterly review, you know what the purpose of that meeting is. So whatever the purpose of that meeting is, I need you to do your research, because the more you know about something, the more confident you become. So when you walk in there, it's a different way you're going to walk in when you know what's on the agenda, but you know in depth what's happening. So that's the number one for my folks who are walking in and not too sure. Confidence comes from knowledge. You cannot have one without the other. The next thing, so you're saying, Brandy, all right, I did the research. I'm still feeling like, ew, I don't want to go in here. You're feeling some kind of way. No, that person too, you're going to do my favorite advice. And this is going to just sound so crazy. You hear the fake it until you make it all the time, but I'm going to give you a spin on it. Fake it until you make it, and then you'll become it. So the moment you go in there, I'm talking about your body language, Maria, right? So that's the biggest thing, nonverbal. So my expertise is all in, of course, training and development, nonverbal cues, communication. I'm looking at you. I'm gauging you. People are watching you, whether you're presenting yourself online or at the end of the day, when you walk in that meeting, put your shoulders back. My ladies, toss that hair. Or if you have short hair, throw it back. My gentlemen, put on your blazer, feel good, look the part, and you walk in like you're going to own that room. That is the confidence piece. That is the part when you're walking through and you're literally getting ignited that moment, because you're faking it until you make it. No one knows you're not feeling it. No one knows at the end of the day that you're a little bit nervous because you look the part. So I'm going to start with, how are you looking? How are you dressing? Walk through that door, and then you've done your homework. So now the confidence piece is going to bleed through. Keep doing those small, subtle things. I guarantee you by that third or fourth meeting, you're going to own it. There it is. You're going to own it. There it is.
I love that. I love that. And it's funny because not too long ago, I had posted a kind of like a picture and just a post on LinkedIn where I was talking about that, about faking it until you make it. And I got a lot of kind of backlash from people saying, no, this is bad advice. But what I want to add to that is most of the time, you'll be there 100%. It'll be easy for you, but everyone has those down days. Everyone has those days where today I just don't feel like it, but I have this important meeting. I have to do something. And I think faking it till you make it is really for those times where you just don't feel it, right? Because unfortunately the world doesn't stop when we're not feeling well. We have to keep going. And sometimes it's going to be those important meetings where you have to perform. So it's really for those times, especially. It's great to obviously learn how to do things specifically, but
Right.
this is kind of your backup as well. If you are just not feeling it, like you said, put your shoulders back and just fake it until you become it. Like you said, I really like what you said about that. Last thing I wanted to kind of add to this is I loved also how you were talking about the audience, right? And I think people
Mhm.
don't realize how smart your audience is. Most people, especially introverts, and we already know about 50% of the population is full of introverts. Introverts analyze everything. They could see your facial expressions. They could tell when, hey, something changed in this room. They feel energy, right? So audiences are very smart. They're picking up on a lot of this stuff, especially introverts. But Brandy, would you say you are more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Okay, Maria, I'm gonna ask you if you just from just engaging with me via audio in that, if you had to take a guess, which would it be?
So from my observation, I do feel like you're an introvert, but I feel like you know how to speak, what to say, how to say it. You come off as but I have a feeling you're an introvert.
Well, drum roll, I'm definitely an extrovert. I'm very
Oh,
extroverted. Okay,
okay.
but I'm going to give you a spin to that because I think that what you observed was pretty accurate in a sense, right? So I'm very extroverted. I get energy from people. Like it gives me energy to be out and about, to deliver presentations on the spot, to do those things. I absolutely
Mhm.
find joy in it. I get adrenaline from it. However, when it comes to once I've done training, right? I'll tell you, I did a training that was 8 hours one day from very early in
Oh
the
my
morning
God.
to the afternoon, later in the evening. And I do those often. On-site trainings, really, we do all day. We try to knock out those intensives and just really get it done. But I'll tell you this, Maria, at the end of any engagement I do speaking wise or training, I am done. When I say I have to kind of crawl into like a hole, I go back
Oh
to
my
my like
God.
hotel room. It depends if I'm traveling. And I'll tell you, I'll talk to my husband and he's like, oh yeah, you're about to lay down and have room service, aren't you? I say, yep, it's over. I'm done. I give because I give so much. And I think with being extroverted, it requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot that you're on all the time. So I'm not that person after an engagement where you're like, Brandy, let's go get dinner after. Let's go have drinks or cocktails or just toast. I'm like, can we do that tomorrow? Because I'm exhausted now. I gave it everything I've got on that stage. So I'm the opposite when it comes to that. So I say extrovert, introvert when I'm done. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but definitely totally extroverted for sure.
Yeah, but like you were saying, if you were going to speak for 8 hours, anything for me, it's 1 hour. Anything over 1 hour, oh my gosh. That's why I the way that I prioritize my meetings and everything is I have a 1 hour gap in between each where I literally will just go sit down on the couch, let my phone recharge and come back. And sometimes I'm like, how is this even like this is so crazy? That's all I give, like 1 hour, and then my energy is depleted. If you're going a whole day, obviously
Yeah.
an extrovert, I'm sure 4 or 5 hours of nonstop speaking and engaging, even that I'm sure is it's a lot. But I'm happy to see that you're a little bit more extrovert because now we can get kind of the other side as well, right? So we can talk
Yeah.
more about introverted speaker versus an extrovert. So what would you say, I guess, Brandy, talk to me about extroverted speakers. So I talk a lot about introverted speakers, the challenges that they face. What would you say are challenges that extroverted speakers typically face?
Oh, so I'm going to speak from personal experience with that, and a couple other friends who I do know who are pretty extroverted, even more than me when it comes to speaking. A number one challenge they do is they give so much hardcore in the beginning, where at the end you can kind of deplete out, right? You lose your steam, you
Mhm.
lose your momentum. Extroverted speakers, they come out the gate strong, they come out the gate high energy, they come out the gate, yes, I'm excited to be here, let's go. That's great for your sales kickoff meeting, right? Or this leadership retreat. However, you have to pace yourself. As an extroverted speaker, what I learned over the years is pace myself. Come out the gate and give about 75 and then turn it up to a 90. Then in the middle, hit 100 and then turn it back down to about a 20. So So one thing that extroverted speakers we definitely face is we go too hard in the beginning with the energy, and then at the end we're trying to find the steam. We're trying to find it, and you shouldn't have to do that. Introverted speakers, they kind of stay pretty steady throughout, so you're not digging to try to pull out those pockets of energy because you're pretty much the same throughout. Your energy level is there. Extroverted speakers, we struggle with it, Maria. It's tough, and until you
I'm
learn,
sure.
I'm like,
I'm sure.
you go all out, and you're like, whoa, whew, oh man, I got 4.5 hours to go. No, you can't do that. So even some tips and tricks I
Yeah.
give, some of my counterparts who are in speaking too, and even training, I said, you have to tailor it. Start how you want to finish. Start exactly how you want to finish as a speaker. That'll help you throughout. But you only learn that from someone tapping you on the shoulder and telling you, or then also two, experience. So they have you as a coach, right? To be able to pull those things to say, they're like, Maria, I'm tired at the end. And you're like, how long have you been speaking? It was 6 hours. You think? Duh. So they have an expert like you, right? They have an expert like me to just say, hey, we've got you. Pull it in a bit. But think about the folks who had to learn from experience like me, which was I did get drained earlier on in my career, and I learned and I said never again. So that's what we face as extroverted speakers. It's kind of tough, but it's an easy fix once you know.
Okay, that's good. A lot of like the debates that I have with people on my kind of channel on like LinkedIn and everything. So I talk a lot about, we do a lot of comparisons of introverts and extroverts as speakers. And a lot of people have this assumption that extroverts are not afraid of public speaking. Do you think that's the case? Or do you feel like they are still afraid of public speaking, but there's something else going on there? Like, how do you feel about that?
That's an interesting statistic, and I would love to read more about that. I would have to say this. I think that it depends, because just because you're extroverted, just because you gain that energy from being out with people, you love that, right? That fuels you. Does not mean you are really good at or you enjoy the art of public speaking. That does not mean they don't go hand in hand. Now, will you find more speakers at the end of the day sometimes who are extroverted? Possibly. I would love to do a survey to see. Maria, we got to do a survey. We got to do a LinkedIn survey. We got to
We
see.
should.
Are you extroverted and are you a speaker, right? To see, are you introverted and are you a speaker? What's the likelihood between the two? Because I do think theoretically it's something matching there. However, no, I don't think that. I don't think because you're extroverted, you're naturally going to be a speaker. I have friends who are extroverted, but guess what? They would rather die than give a presentation. They rather have someone else do it. They're like, I don't want to do it. I said, but wait, you have all this charisma, you have that. Yeah, but I don't want to do it in front of people. I'm like, see, that's when they need the help, the coaching. So I would challenge it to say, it really depends on the extrovert. Doesn't mean you're a guaranteed great speaker just because you're an extrovert. So my introverts, if you're hearing this, don't you believe the hype. If someone says they're extroverted, don't think they have one leg up on you. Not at all, because they still have to learn it and enjoy the art of speaking too. So I don't know.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. I think it is a misconception, but I think people just naturally think that, oh, because you're an extrovert, you love speaking. So that means you want to get up in front of 2,000 people and like take in all that energy. But oh my gosh, like just thinking about it is giving me anxiety. It's a lot. But
It's so crazy and just thinking about that makes me excited, right? It just depends, right,
yeah,
on
it's
the
crazy, the
extrovert.
difference.
Yes, it is. It makes me
It's
like, oh,
insane.
and I can think of like, some of my clients and folks I've worked with, right? And they're extremely introverted, and I have some extremely extroverted and right in the middle too. So, because a lot of times people can be best of both worlds. I do believe that.
Yeah.
And they're like, how are you not afraid? Like I remember I did a TED talk, a TEDx audition, right? This was like 2 years ago. And I got in front of them, did it, came down, and I had a person who was up there and they were very introverted and they were pitching their idea, their talk. And she just said, can I just talk to you? And like really low and timid. I said, well, yeah. I'm like, I can't hear you. She's like, okay, how did you do that? I was like, do what? She's like, you got up there and spoke. She was like, it's people up here at the top, because we were in like like it was like almost a stadium. It was so many people. And I said, oh, I loved it. I got up revved up. Maria, I was ready for more. And she's like, I don't do that. Do you not know? Her and I ended up connecting, and she ended up becoming one of my students over
Oh,
time.
nice.
And when I say she is a rock star, I'll have to send you like her website and what she does now. But she's amazing. But it's amazing how she was extremely introverted, and now girlfriend is
Yeah.
giving amazing talks. Okay. It was amazing.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Let's take a couple of questions. We're getting both questions about introverts and extroverts. So let me take one that is about introverts and I'll give you one about extroverts. So
Let's go.
Danielle is asking, what can energize an introvert to speak public? So great question, Daniel. I'd love to answer this one. I don't think anything really energizes us to speak to an audience. But like the best thing to do instead is if you have that important meeting, if you have a presentation, if you have that interview even, and you know you're going to be, make sure it's kind of the first thing you're doing in the morning. It's earlier on in the day when you still have as much energy as possible, because introverts, as the day goes by, your energy gets depleted faster and faster. So try not to save something for 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Make it at 8, 9, 10. Keep it to 10. Like after 10 p.m., or 10 a.m., you should not be taking on any extremely important meetings. So I wouldn't really say there's a way to energize you, but the best thing to do is get it done early on in the morning. And one thing that I guess you can also do if you have no choice, of course, sometimes there's going to be meetings later on in the day, is I think if you really hone in and think about your message and why you're here and use that to fuel you, I think that really helps as well. So I hope that answers your question, Danielle. We have a couple questions here for extroverts or an ambivert. So Teresa's asking, what about the ambivert? I just found this word today, but I know I was both intro and extro. Okay, not really a question. There was a question here. Let me find it. Someone was saying, I am an extrovert. All right, here. Okay, so we have one from Gajinder. He's saying, hi, Maria. How do you remove the fear of public speaking, either from introvert or extrovert? So do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit, Randy?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. So I think, how do you remove the fear of public speaking? To go and speak. I mean, I'm just going to say it and be very, very upfront about it. And what I mean by that is, of course, easier said than done, but go and start speaking. And what I mean by start speaking is start speaking with yourself first, right? I didn't just throw you to the wolves to say, go on a stage and go speak. Start speaking to yourself first, right? And I'm not saying, Randy, am I crazy? No, start in the mirror. So that's number one, start in the mirror. Number two, start recording yourself. Set up your tripod, sit there and just go over things. And what I mean is, I want you to do some impromptu speaking before you start writing it out. Because a lot of times people will go straight to the scripted, right? They're reading and they're like, yeah, I got this. No, give yourself a random topic, pull it out of a bucket, say, boom, talk about cats today. All right, give me 60 seconds on cats. Boom, talk about the weather. Boom, just random things to start seeing yourself and watching yourself. The next thing, bring in a friend, bring in a colleague, bring in your spouse, your partner, your bestie, whoever. Have them come in and say, this is what my goal. I want to be a better speaker. Just give me some feedback. And guess what? I have a template that I can send you, okay, that they can kind of judge you, okay, and not true judge you, but actually rank you and give you constructive feedback about how you're speaking. So I can send you some of that. Slide in my DMs and I got you. So build from there. Then after that, Maria, oh goodness, hire a coach, okay, if you want to keep going. That's the other side of it. But really, at the end of the day, practice makes perfect. Join a local Toastmasters. Find areas in your community where you can come and just speak for free. And most importantly, surround yourself with people who are interested in learning to develop how they communicate. Because developing your communication skills is the most powerful thing you can do. And I'm going to ask you that, Maria. What do you think about it? Like, do you think speaking at the end of the day is one of the best investments you can make for yourself? Yes or no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like if there's one thing you're going to do this year, this should be it. Just because we see it everywhere. It's being a better speaker helps you in so many different ways. It helps you build your confidence. It helps you get your ideas across. It'll help you get that job you want, that promotion you want. It'll help you get over that fear of public speaking. And so the benefits are just endless. And me being on the other side where I was terrified of public speaking and now being on the opposite side, I've seen the difference. It's helped me in literally every single area of my life, which is why I'm such a big advocate for it, which is why I want to help people with this area. So yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I do want to touch base on something that you said about recording yourself. This is actually one of the things that I make my clients do. As soon as my clients start, one of the first thing I tell them to do is, all right, here's your topic, record yourself, post it, and then we watch it together. So it's not just you record yourself and you put it out there and you don't look at it again. When you're afraid of public speaking, typically you don't want to see yourself speak because you're like, oh God, that was terrible. But I make my clients sit down, we watch the video together, and then I ask them, what did you like? What did you not like? Right? So that's a great point because people need to see themselves. You have to see what you're doing. right? A lot of us don't realize, like I used to touch my hair so much, and that's more of like a nervous tick. Some people like will scratch their neck like that. You'll see some people scratching their head. You do so many things that you don't realize you're doing until you see yourself and you're like, wow, I need to stop doing that. Or I need to get to the board and like I need to loosen up a little. So you
Yes.
have to see yourself and you have to know what you're doing and what you're not doing. So I love that advice, the recording yourself and watching it. It's not enough to record yourself. You have to sit down and watch it, as
Watch it.
painful as it may be. Painful as it may be.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And be okay with it. Be okay with it. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, as you're recording yourself, you're documenting your journey. So now you can know from day 1 to day 60, what am I doing in between there? Is there a difference? There should be a drastic difference, because using your voice and learning to speak and to effectively deliver a message, it's truly an art. This is an art. Our voice right here in our throat, our voice is truly the most powerful instrument that we have. There's nothing else more powerful than your voice. So if we're talking about you being confident, we're talking about you just saying, hey, I'm going to be a great speaker, okay? And I'm going to keep doing it wrong until I get it right. Or my folks who already are pretty good speakers, but they want to get to the point where they're removing filler words, right? Because not everyone who comes to us, Maria, are like, I hate public speaking. You have some folks who come to you and they say, I just want to get better. I want to be one of the best that there are. And those are small things like removing filler words, not touching your hair, not doing things, making sure you're engaged still, keeping eye contact without being creepy. Things like that are the
Yeah,
things that you want to make sure
absolutely.
that you're developing. So I couldn't agree
Yes.
more with that. And it's
I
powerful. Once you
actually,
learn how to speak, you're good.
yes, of course. I do want to share a personal experience. So, when I had gotten into teaching people public speaking, in the beginning, I was just doing it face to face. Then the pandemic hit, and now you had to kind of transition into doing it online by recording videos and stuff. So, when I first started, oh my God, I could not sit through one of my videos. And I was like, I can't believe I'm going to post this. Like, it was so hard to watch. But
Wow.
just like everything else, you get better and better slowly. So, eventually when I got better, now before I even post anything, I feel like I watch my video 10 times and I'm like, oh, I like this, or that's not bad, right? Because like I said, as you watch yourself more and more, you start to realize what you're doing and what you're not doing. So you do eventually get to that point where you enjoy watching yourself speaking, and you're almost like you're proud of yourself. You're like, wow, like if you compare your first video to what I'm doing now, oh my God, this is great. Right. So just from personal experience, even just transitioning from speaking face to face to now online, which I is also a form of public speaking.
Absolutely.
It's just one of those things. The more you do it, the more you watch yourself, and the more you fix things here and the better you're going to get at it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. I mean, that is truly the best investment you can make in yourself is speaking, learning how to speak. And of course, learning the lead piece. Like I told you, my secret sauce, secret formula, right? Leading, speaking, and selling. It gets no better than that. Like you would truly be unstoppable. Those are the things where you see people are truly most successful at. They're learning those things. They have the coaches, they have the people who are bringing them along that journey, because we want you to be the best that you can be. That's what gets me excited. That's what makes me happy. And as you said, the thing about you start to watch yourself and you get proud. That's how you deal with your clients. And as you see them grow, I know you can agree with that. And you see like, whoa, your day 1 video to day 92 is night and day. Like, oh, I want that for you. And that's what we want. I think, thinking of what you need to do to be confident is truly say, hey, I'm going to be obedient to the fact that someone needs to hear my message. Someone needs
Yeah.
to hear your voice. I think about that. And of course, I'm a godly woman. I love the Lord. And I think about that when it comes to God. God wants you to make sure that you deliver messages to people, right? You only know what those messages are. So you're not being obedient if you aren't learning how to use your voice, if you're not confident and ignited in it. I want to be able to make sure you are, at the end of the day, being obedient, because someone needs to hear what you have to say. Someone needs to hear what you have to say. Do not think it's too small. Do not think maybe no one cares. We do care. Okay. We do care and we love you. And I want to hear your message. Okay. So bring it forward and just be confident and do it, because you own that. You deserve that. Those are the things I want people to feel once they're done interacting with me. And it's a lifetime relationship. Maria, we're in this together forever now. So I'm coming West Coast to see you.
I
We're
can't
done
see
and you're
myself
coming
doing
south.
anything else. But let's take one last question. I know we're almost out
Yes.
of time here. So I really like this question that Olivia is asking. So she is asking, that how do you know if your audience is picking up on your message and if they're understanding your message? So in other words, like how do you know that you've actually delivered your message to your audience? What would be kind of your advice on that, Brandy?
That's excellent. So how you know if you've truly delivered your message and your message is resonating? That's the biggest piece. It's all in their facial expressions. So as we talked about nonverbal, I talked about the nonverbal piece for you, right, Olivia? You're walking in, you got on, your favorite outfit, your hair is looking great, you look good and you're confident, but that's great for you. Look at your audience. And this can be one-on-one, but this can be an audience of 1,000. It doesn't matter. You look at every single one of their faces. When you're getting those facial expressions where they're locked in, I'm talking about that creepy eye contact, right? Where you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
they're still looking at me. And they're looking. They're locked in on that message. When they're nodding, wow. And then to sit back in the chair, the fingerprint right here, the finger here, they're processing your message. And then most importantly, feedback. They will give it to you. I'll tell you this, engagements I've done, trainings I've done, the reason why I'm even more burned out, they're lined up waiting to talk after. Brandy, I got personal questions to ask you. How can we talk through this? That is letting you know. So start from the very beginning when you're talking to them and you're looking at their facial expressions, calling on them, asking for feedback right in the moment. Do not wait until the very end. Right then and there. If they give you that confused face, and we know that face, you address it right there. They're like, no. You're like, hey, you know what? Hey, Jamie, let's bring that out of you. I see you're looking at me. Let's go. You have some questions. Let's pull it out. And you pull that piece out, Olivia. So just make sure that you're paying attention to their nonverbal cues and still ask for that feedback throughout and then also after. And Maria, I couldn't drop the link to the masterclass in there. Could you drop that for me?
I am trying to as well. For some reason, my message is going directly to, when I drop it, it's only going to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to come back after. As soon as we're done, I'll come back and drop it one more time.
Thank you. I see
just on what you said right now, I think that people don't realize that they're speaking so much with their body language, even your audience. Your audience doesn't even realize that they're making those faces and they're like, wait, what? Or they move back or they lean in. So yeah, great advice. Look at your audience. They will literally tell you how well you're doing. So, and I think most people, they get so caught up when they're speaking, they think, oh my gosh, am I doing everything well? They forget to check in with their audience. So make sure you're checking in with them and look at them. They will tell you through their body language how you're doing.
Yes, they will. And their faces don't lie.
Yes, exactly. So Brandy, I know we are running out of time. So just let everyone know one more time about your masterclass, how they can sign in. And you guys can also go on to Brandy's profile. It should be on there as well, right, Brandy?
Yes, absolutely. So go ahead and connect with me there. And if you couldn't see the link, but Maria's going to drop it in after, I have no problem DMing it over to you too, because I want to make sure you get your seat. But just to bring it all home, I mean, the biggest thing is I'm passionate about is making sure that you can truly be successful in all areas, because I do believe as a leader, as a speaker, as a person who knows how to sell themselves, they're not only passionate and prosperous in the workplace, this passion and prosperity is at home too. This is the same thing with your family. The more confident you are, the more confident you are with them too. So I'm all about making sure that you feel empowered in all those areas. So this masterclass, it is going to be fire. Trust me, you do not want to miss. And I am going to limit it because I do want to have this one-on-one interaction with you all so you can feel that passion and most importantly, learn a ton from me. It's called the Lead, Speak, Sell Masterclass. It's on January 28th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? So if you're way West Coast like Maria, you got to get up a little early, okay? And that's okay, because if you really want it, you'll get up, you'll keep fighting for it, you'll be motivated to do it. And I would love to see all of you there. And then one more thing, it's free, so you should be there for sure. But thank you, Maria. This was such a pleasure to even just connect with you and talk to your amazing audience. I am so just grateful.
Of course, Brandy. I knew I had to have you on when I heard you speak on, I think it was the LinkedIn audio that I did. I was like, all right, this is great. I need Brandy to do a live with me. So we should definitely do another one.
Oh, yes.
And especially now that I know you're more extroverted, it's good to get the other side as well. And because I know even though majority of my audience is introverted, I do have a lot of extroverts in there too. So it would be nice to hear the other side of it as well. So thank you so much, Brandy.
We're locked in.
Yes, thank you so much, Brandy. And thank you everyone for listening. Do check out Brandy's masterclass. I will post the link right after we're done here. For some reason, we're having issues posting it. So do check it out and let me know what you guys think. So thank you so much again, Brandy. Have a wonderful day and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Bye. Take care. Bye.